Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first edition of the Do the Damn Dive Live. I'm Jutnick. Kenny Arrow is not going to be joining us this time because he had to go do other things, so I'm going to take over to review AEW Rampage. Sold out from the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. The biggest thing in wrestling just happened tonight. CM Punk returns, and the crowd was chanting his name even before he made his entrance. The crowd was ready. He came. We saw. So getting into it, cult of personality hits right away. The crowd's going nuts. And Punk, when he grabs his mic, he says he's just gonna wing his promo. And as he's talking, he's kind of recapping, where he's been over the past couple years. He recaps his time in ROH and in WWE. He said, he was unhealthy and he apologizes for all the fans that he felt like he let down. Then he reveals his very own t-shirt. So I'm assuming in a couple minutes after the show's already, over with now, the CM Punk t-shirt will probably be crashing the AEW shop websites. Punk then calls out to Darby Allin, who is in the rafters with Sting, and it's official for September 5th at All Out in Chicago. CM Punk versus Darby Allin. This is just crazy. The whole promo itself and just everything about this segment just could not be better. He then plugs his ice cream bars, which was awesome. And then you see Taz with Tony Schiavone and Mark Henry, them eating one of them. And he says, and when he leaves the ring, he says, and just one more thing, the ice cream bars are on me. So looks like the Chicago crowd, the United Center, is going to be getting some ice cream bars. But no, this was just amazing. Could not be better. And now we're gonna get CM Punk in-ring return at All Out. This will be a can't-miss show. The wrestling world right now is on fire. It's SummerSlam season and it feels like it. I haven't been this excited for anything in wrestling in a long time. So this is just reunited a lot of just passion. Like this was the first time that I went crazy over a return. I mean, even the John Cena one, it wasn't anything in my mind compared to this. This was just, and I really thought Punk wasn't going to come back until All Out. I thought they were going to wait till the pay-per-view, but, I mean, I'm glad they didn't because it was just the right place at the right time, and now CM Punk is All Elite. And after moving on from that, backstage with Jurassic Express, Christian's hyping him up, and then he declares that he's going to take the AEW World Championship at All Out, as well as Kenny Omega's Soul. So then we get onto the semifinals of the AEW Tag Team Total Eliminator Tournament. Private Party comes out with Matt Hardy versus the Jurassic Express, who has Marco Stunt in their corner. Young Bucks come out after the teams have made their entrances and sit in these, zebra printed chairs with Brandon Cutler to watch the match, and also in the crowd the Lucha Bros and Varsity Blondes, who will be competing on AEW Dynamite coming this next Wednesday for the final spot in the Eliminator Tag Team Tournament. So either way, this is looking like a great match, and now we'll get on to who advanced. So starting off in the match, Jungle Boy starts off with a hot start. Then Private Party kind of take control with a distraction from Matt Hardy. Luchasaurus then gets the hot tag out the wall and runs roughhouse on Private Party. Isaiah Cassidy hits Canadian Destroyer onto Jungle Boy, but Jungle Boy is on Luchasaurus' shoulders because Mark Quinn kicked Luchasaurus in the face, so he was dazed and Jungle Boy couldn't really get off. So it was like an assisted Canadian Destroyer, which was awesome. It looked crazy. And then Matt Hardy interferes again by distracting Jungle Boy, and it almost cost Jungle Boy the match with a roll-up. There was a botch, kind of in the match. Mark Quinn went for a springboard moonsault to the outside on the Luchasaurus, but he kind of grazed him. He didn't really get all of it, but, I mean, overall, that wasn't enough to ruin the match. I mean, the match itself was crazy. So, nearing the end, Jungle Boy counters the gin and juice, and then the Luchasaurus gets, I forget who it was, either Mark Quinn or Isaiah Cassidy. He flips him up, and it's like a assisted pop-up powerbomb, which I thought looked awesome. And Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus Jurassic Express advance to the finals of the Tag Team Eliminator Tournament. So this should be really exciting. This was a great match to start off with after that big... I mean, obviously nothing was going to top CM Punk's return to wrestling, but this was a great opening match. And now we're going to get on to backstage segment with Don Callis and Omega. They're upset about what Christian said earlier. And I guess, there's going to be a war all out between Christian and Kenny Omega. Still, I really did think that somebody, I don't know who, would attack Christian Cage so that he wouldn't make it to All Out, because I just really didn't think that they would run it back again. But apparently it's happening, and honestly, I am excited for it in a sense, but I think Omega's also, he's just going to win this match and move on to someone else, perhaps Hangman Page, or maybe a debuting Daniel Bryan, or just anyone. I mean, there's a lot of contenders in that company right now, so realistically, he could face, anybody, but for now, it is going to be Christian Cage versus Omega at All Out for the AEW World Championship. So now we're going to move on to Jade Cargill with Smart Mark Sterling versus Kiera Hogan. So Jade Cargill gets her entrance, but, I mean, they didn't even introduce, Kiera Hogan. Well, they introduced her, but she didn't get an entrance. So, I'm assuming this was due to the only 1 hour time limit that Rampage has, which I'm actually a fan of. It's good that Dynamite can have the 2 hours and then Rampage has just one, because it's easier. First of all, it's easier to digest, and they can fit in what they need to progress storylines and stuff like that in a 1 hour show. They can do it just fine. We've seen NXT do it and they pulled it off just fine. So hopefully Rampage can stay at an hour. But anyways, getting on to the match. So after Kiera Hogan gets no entrance, it's basically just a squash. Yeah, she starts off good with a series of strikes, but, I mean, Jade just makes quick work of her, and that's basically it. It was just a random squash match, and I found it interesting to see how AEW is kind of using Impact's talent, because, I mean, Kiera Hogan, if I'm not mistaken, was just recently the Impact Knockout Champions with, I forget her name, Tasha Steelz, I think her name is. So they were just knockout tag champs. So I guess they're not going to get in the huge... I guess Kiera Hogan's not off to a great start. But then again, this was just kind of borrowing talent. So, I guess it looks like Impact's kind of under the will of AEW. I don't know how much control they have over certain stars that go over to AEW and stuff like that. But, yeah, interesting. Interesting how they are using Kiera Hogan right now. So, after this match, we get some, hype for the upcoming Dynamite next Wednesday. CM Punk will make his first appearance. Varsity Blondes will face the Lucha Bros in the Eliminator Tag Team Finals, or semifinals, to see who advances to face Jurassic Express. Jamie Hayter, who just debuted as Dr. Britt Baker's kind of bodyguard. Jamie Hayter was in promotions with Stardom and on the UK scene, Japanese scene. And, yeah, so it looks like this will kind of be, I think this match will have heavy interference, but we won't talk about that right yet because we'll have to wait till Wednesday. We're going to have Matt Hardy versus Orange Cassidy. And Brock Anderson. Now, this is the match I'm excited for the most. Brock Anderson, Arn Anderson's son, for those who didn't know, versus Malachi Black. And last we seen of Malachi Black, he just decimated Cody Rhodes in a Brody Lee-esque squash. Cody's not afraid to, I guess, put certain people over. He didn't put over Anthony Ogogo, but he did put over Malachi Black. But obviously that was the only option you could have done. You're not going to job out Black, and it's going to be no different here. I think Black is going to make short work of Brock Anderson. So, almost to the main event, Mark Henry's backstage, and he's interviewing Daniel Garcia with 2.0, who just recently got signed, and Jon Moxley. And this was just a little quick back and forth. Moxley just basically promised to destroy Daniel Garcia after all the cheap shots that 2.0 and Garcia have been pulling off. So now we're getting to the main event. Jon Moxley with Eddie Kingston versus Daniel Garcia with 2.0. Moxley's coming through the Chicago crowd. They're singing along to his Wall Thing theme song. You know, the crowd's red hot for this match. Garcia also gets no entrance, so this just, yeah, it's basically just the time limit. They can't fit in all the entrances, and I mean, yes, it is kind of a spoiler for who's going to win, but I mean, even if Daniel Garcia did have an entrance, we already know who's going to win, and lo and behold, it was Jon Moxley. But let's get into some of the high points of the match. Moxley starts out just mop ragging Daniel. But then Daniel Garcia actually kind of counters and starts targeting the bad leg of Moxley. So there's a little bit of a little in-ring psychology there. Commentary actually mentions that Garcia broke both of his legs in a car accident, I believe. Not that many years ago. So that was a little interesting, I guess, tidbit from commentary. They kind of say random stuff like that during the matches. I mean, but it does give, you know, some characters and some wrestlers, like, a little bit of backstory. I mean, it just those little teeny, like, I guess, hints of who they are, or like what their experience is, you know. It does go a little way into, you know, like, well, holy shit, this Daniel Garcia, you know, he's kind of a tough bastard to come back from 2 broken legs and still perform in the ring just fine. So, yeah, I mean, props to Garcia, because he was doing good. I mean, he was obviously targeting the leg a lot with Moxley, but then Moxley comes back with a bunch of German suplexes, Suplex City, and then Garcia, he counters the paradigm shift into a submission, but then Moxley counters himself into the Bulldog choke for the win. Garcia taps, and yeah, this was it was a little bit back and forth, very quick match, but I mean, on Rampage, we're going to get that many 20-minute classics here, but no, this is exactly what it needed to be. You know, this was a fun way to close off the show, but it's not over yet, because after Moxley wins 2.0 and Garcia attack Moxley and Eddie Kingston, but then Sting and Darby Allin come out for the save, and then Moxley, Sting, and Darby hit their big moves. You know, Moxley hits the paradigm shift, Sting hits the Stinger Splash and the Scorpion Deathlock, and then Darby Allin hits his coffin drop onto 2.0. So yeah, then that was to close off. It was a good closer. The whole show was just really fun to watch. I mean, for an hour-long show, I mean, it did what it needed to do. It, you know, obviously, the biggest thing that I'm sure people are talking about is not the matches that happened tonight, not anything like that. It's all CM Punk, and rightfully so, because that was just a bombshell dropped. I'm actually, like, I can't believe that this is happening. Like, yeah, I remember, and I mean, I wasn't that old when CM Punk left after the Royal Rumble in 2014, but, you know, it really seems like, I mean, the fans are ready for Punk to be back. Punk's ready to be back. Just AEW just pulled out all the stops. I mean, they got CM Punk now, but even if they get a Daniel Bryan or anything like that, I mean, their roster right now, if you just look at it, is just stacked. Absolutely stacked. Top level performers. The Jerichos, the Moxleys, the Malachi Blacks, Cody, Kenny Omega, Adam Page, MJF, like, so many, Darby Allin, so many, like, I could go on for hours about just everyone they got right now. And CM Punk just has a whole lineup of talent that he could face any day, and I'm sure he put on a fucking barn burner. I mean, this episode of Rampage was just can't miss, and hopefully AEW will get some more ratings, even though they're sitting at, I think they're usually getting just shy of 1 million, but let's hope that they can get to 1 million very soon. But anyways, guys, I've been Jutnick from Do the Damn Dive. I hope you liked kind of our, you know, the after, just right after the show review. I don't know if there'll be too many of these, but we'll try as best we can. This was just kind of a spur of the moment. I had to talk about it. So yeah, the next time you see us, we will be doing a NXT TakeOver 36 predictions video, so stay tuned to that. Follow us on Twitter. It's all lowercase at Do The Damn Dive to catch updates on our latest videos. We're going to have polls up too. You guys can answer that. It's all interactive. Feel free to like and subscribe if you like the video, and leave your feedback, because honestly, we will look at every comment we get and we will try to improve to the best of our abilities. But anyways, guys, I hope you like the video, and we will catch you guys on the next one.